a large industry where 10,000
Some you
people work.
guys
Fundamentally, if you want to have a good kitchen or a good industry,
wanted
you
to
must
know
be a
how I
good manager of
meditate.
that situation.
This is just a quick thing.
So
I
whether you're
get
managing a
straight
little
into
kitchen
it.
or a large industry,
This guy says it
if
a
you
lot
want to
better than
manage
me.
outside
I'm just gonna
situations, generally you will have to
Get
manage
straight
material
into it.
and people around you. If you have to manage 10 people or 10,000 people around you, you have to manage 10 minds or 10,000 minds around you. But if you have no management over your own mind, you managing 10,000 minds is going to be a disaster. In the process of doing something, if we are destroying human beings, which is happening right now, in the process of managing a situation, the man is broken, then this kind of management is no good, because after all, every management that we do is only for human well-being. If we are doing management for human well-being, in the process of doing something, in the process of managing situations, it is not only about producing something or making profit. Human beings should rise to their full potential. If we manage a situation properly, in simple process of working, you and the people who are working with you should be able to raise to their full potential. When I say rising to full potential, not just work potential, but as human beings, they must be able to rise to their full potential. If people work together, then people should be able to rise to the peak of their love, peace, compassion within themselves. If this doesn't happen, then it's bad management, because all management, the basic intent is human well-being. If that is not happening, you're just producing something, you're making little profit, but human beings are getting broken in the process, it doesn't mean anything. So if this kind of management has to happen, that just in managing a business, you find people around you raised to their peak, then you have to spend a certain amount of time in focusing on your inner management. If this doesn't happen, you will only manage situations by accident. A lot of people have understood management as a way of throwing their weight around. Can I tell you a joke? Are you okay? On a certain day, a lion was really feeling great within himself. He just was walking and a little rabbit was going, he caught him and roared at him, "Who is the king of the jungle?" The little rabbit, terrified, said, You, of course you." He let him go, swaggered around a little bit.
Just felt the tension.
Then he found a fox, caught him. "Who is the king of the jungle?" "Oh my lord, it's you, of course, nobody else but you."
We're on a journey.
Then he swaggered around a little bit, caught a few more animals, everybody screamed out of fear, "You are the king of the
Release the
jungle."
energy.
Then he was in full
Can
swagger,
you feel the energy
like a manager,
releasing?
king of the jungle. Walked into a clearing in the
I was
jungle.
holding it there.
There was a huge tusker standing.
I'm
He went,
been
stood in
very
front
busy.
of him
You
and asked,
guys.
"Who is the king of the jungle?"
Excuse.
The tusker took his trunk, rolled him up, picked him up, twirled him around, smashed him to the ground. His back broke. Then the lion said, "You could have just told me." But the tusker said, "You see, I had to make my point." So, a lot of people generally are thinking management means just throwing their weight around. Throwing your weight around is not management. Any fool can do that. If you manage a situation,
Keep your back straight.
not just things happening
up.
there, people should feel
Yeah,
elevated.
you feel it
Just
in your
being in
back,
that space.
don't you?
Otherwise, it is not management.
This is why we
Above
do
all,
the exercise.
If you go to
and
a
you
place,
build up
you manage a situation,
just
you must feel wonderful
day
being there.
at a time,
If that doesn't happen,
little by
you're
little.
not a good
You get
manager.
so strong.
So if this has to happen, you
It
need
all
an inner
starts with
dimension.
the back.
When I say inner dimension, what is inner dimension? When I say inner, I'm not just talking about the body or the mind Because both this body and mind you gathered from outside in certain ways, isn't it? For example, this physical body, when you were a child, this body was only this much. Now it's become this much. How did this happen? How did this happen? That's a question. How did this happen? You grew up, how did it happen, I must? I'm sorry? How did it happen? How did all this body happen?
I felt that.
Food that you ate, isn't it? What you call as my body is actually a heap of food that you gathered.
The concentration zeroed in, I was straight.
What you call as food is just a piece of earth that you convert it into food and make it into body, isn't it? So this body is just a heap of food that you gathered over a period of time. What you call as my mind is a heap of impressions that you gathered from outside. Now you have a heap of food and a heap of impressions. If this much gathering has to happen, something more than this must exist, isn't it? If you are capable of gathering such a large body and so much mind, there must be something more fundamental than this. But that never comes into your experience. You're just lost in these two heaps, trying to make some sense out of it. Now, as there is a science, as there is a management science for external well-being, there is a management for science for inner well-being. It is just that most of the time we have not approached it scientifically. We're just believing by doing something somehow everything will be okay. Right now people are thinking by educating themselves they will live happily ever after, which you will discover after some time it's not so. By getting a job they think they are going to be happy ever after, which you will discover it is not so. By making money you think you're going to be happy ever after, you will discover it is not so. Somebody thinks by getting married they're going to be ever after, and they know it is not so. So you're trying to somehow fool yourself into believing that by doing something everything will be okay. Though repeatedly it has let you down, still you believe that something else, some other miracle will make everything okay. It will not be okay. It once happened. On a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing on the field. You know a bull? A pheasant, a bird. The bull was grazing on the grass, the pheasant was picking ticks off the bull. They're partners, you know. Then the pheasant looked at a huge tree which was at the edge of the field and very nostalgically said, "Alas, there was a time when I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree, but today I do not have the strength even to fly to the first branch of the tree." The bull very nonchalantly said, "That's no problem. Eat a little bit of my dung every day. You will see within a fortnight's time you will reach the top of the tree." The pheasant said, "Oh, come off it. How is that possible?" The bull said, "Really, please try and see. The whole humanity is on it. You could try too." Very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung, and lo, on the very first day it reached the first branch of the tree. In a fortnight's time, it reached the topmost branch of the tree. It just went and sat on the topmost branch and just looking at the scenery, enjoying it. The old farmer saw a fat old pheasant on the top of the tree. He took out his shotgun and shot him off the tree.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is,
call it the monkey mind.
Even bullshit can get you to the top, but never lets you stay there.
Yeah. We learn to just observe it. I'm going to leave it there because I've got to download this stuff.
If
And
you're
that's a good
seeking a
place to
life
stop
of
the
fulfillment,
story.
if you're seeking a
Sadhguru
life of joy and
says it
peace and
a lot
well-being
better
within
than what I
yourself,
do. It
don't
makes a
try
lot
to
of
fool
sense.
yourself in some way.
Just
You must do the
share.
right thing. Otherwise, it won't work.
This is the first step
Now
of
that
the
you're
program.
managers, or to be managers, probably, definitely, I hope
Sorry,
they have
guys.
taught you
Yeah,
that unless
this
you
is
do
the
the right
first
thing,
step
it
of the
doesn't work with
program.
outside. The same
This
goes
is
with
building
inside. Unless you do the right
foundation.
thing, it just doesn't work.
Obviously,
You may just bull yourself to
we
believe
want
that this will
people to
make
be
me
able
all
to
right. That will
breathe and
make me all right.
stretch.
Yes, for a moment.
You
The
know,
next
I
moment
mean, a
you'll
lot of
crash.
these people
Let's
are
see.
doing. Well, you guys.
Successful people,
Well, what am I
unsuccessful
talking about? You
people.
guys do the
Just look at
yoga
their
and
lives
your
and see
tai chi
24
and
hours. How many moments are they really joyful? How many?
and
Go on the
with
street and
jumping
see
out
how
of it.
many joyful faces do you see on
We
the
love
street?
all that, don't we?
Very, very few.
What we
Isn't
like.
it so?
It's sad.
If
He
you see
gets
any
into
usually
trouble
young
because
faces,
he
over
likes his
30 faces are all
motorbikes.
long faces. What's happened to them?
Oh
For
man,
most of them,
yeah,
their lives
it
have
is
worked
all
out
funny,
far better than they
really.
ever imagined.
You know, like he
If
has
you
a
look at
laugh.
yourself
You
as a
gotta have a
generation,
laugh
never
because this
before
ups your
another
vibe. Right?
generation of
People are
people
far
have
too.
been this comfortable
Look,
and this well physically.
he says
as
it a
you
lot
are
better,
right now,
like
isn't it?
because
Isn't it so?
somebody asked
We are the
me
most
the other
comfortable
day,
generation. No
what
other
my
generation has
expertise
known these
was.
kind of comforts and conveniences.
and that sort
But
of
still, are we
it sort of
any
froze
happier
me a bit
than what
because
people were? This is simply
the
because
more I
we didn't know
learn,
inner management.
it's sort of the less you know.
We just did external
And,
management, no inner management. In the process
It's
of
about
creating what we
sharing
want, the very source of our life, this
and
planet,
getting
It is
information,
destroying.
you know, like, because I don't know.
in pursuit of our
This
happiness,
is all about.
we are just making a bonfire out of this planet.
I don't know if
Still
that
we are not
makes any
satisfied,
sense at all. I don't know what I
Nor
was
are
trying
we
to say
any
here.
more joyful than what we were 500 years ago.
Guys, I'm
500
going
years
to
ago,
download
as
this.
people
It's
were,
gone on a
isn't
bit
it?
longer than what I
So
thought.
somewhere we have neglected the interiority.
I've got a
So to turn
website
inward,
somewhere.
What is needed?
Need some content
reason
for it. Like
why
I want to sell
most young
some
people
products
here
on
have never
there.
made any effort to turn inward is
You guys
because
might
today,
have some art
any
or
thinking person,
music.
the moment he
or
can read,
well, whatever you think you might
speak
want to
English, and he
put
has
forward,
extra alphabets next
you know,
to
to
his
help you
name,
along.
he
Yeah.
develops an allergy towards
You know,
anything
like you,
spiritual. This is
you
not
want to
your
up your
fault.
value, don't you?
These
'Cause
so-called
that's why you're
spiritual
here.
people have made
Look,
such jokers out of themselves.
Take you through the proper morning
They have
thing
presented
because
spirituality
like,
in
at
such
the
terrible
moment,
ways, ridiculous ways,
I haven't
that anybody
proper
who has any sense
energised
doesn't want to go
because
anywhere near it.
the shop I normally
See,
get more.
spirituality
I'm going to
means-
give you the story.
To know something which is
Water
beyond the physical.
and nourishment in the
Right now,
morning.
if we
You need to
exist in a
start
physical
first thing in
entity,
the morning, guys. This is
as
your
a body,
morning
as a mind,
sort of. Well, this isn't
because both these things are accumulations
the
from
morning
outside.
routine's a bit different.
Whatever
but,
happens outside will happen inside.
well,
If what happens outside
10 minutes
is to
in,
happen
yeah,
within you all
didn't
the
I
time,
give it to you? Yeah, like do
then
that 10 minutes
you
in
being
the
peaceful
morning
and happy
thing,
is
and
always
10 minutes in the
accidental.
evening thing. Find some
Because
time to do a
it
little
doesn't
bit of
matter who you are,
meditation.
how powerful you are, how
like I
great a
haven't really,
manager you are.
but I got to do my
External
education
situations
as
will
well
never be
because
100%
I'm
in
learning
your
this
control.
stuff.
That's the nature of life.
I don't know my way around. Did I tell you about the
Even if you're
website?
just the
Yeah.
people in the
See,
family,
I'm still
people don't
working
have
on it.
absolute
You know
control
what I
of the
mean? It
situation,
takes a
isn't
lot of
it so?
time. So, well, I
As the
say it
scope
takes a
and
lot
play
of
of your life
time. It's just
increases, you have less and less control over the situations in which you live. That's the
don't
reality
get
of
me
life.
started on time.
So if whatever is happening outside
I'm really
is happening
time
within you,
flies because I'm
you
enjoying
being
myself
peaceful
so
and happy in
much.
your life
It just
is
goes
far
too
away.
quick.
It's never going to happen. Only
Anyway,
a person
guys, I'm gonna.
begins to experience a
Leave you
dimension
to
beyond
it.
the physical within
I'm
himself.
thinking you're starting to get the
He
idea
can
now.
play with the
Just
physical
stick
world
with it,
whichever way he
right?
wants.
That
He can do
every
the best that he
morning,
can do with
yeah,
outside
hit the
world,
buttons.
but the
Try and
interior
find me
undisturbed,
on
always
YouTube
the way
or the
you want it.
website. Yeah,
The
what I
outside
said.
world will not happen
I'll
the way we
be
want it,
repeating
100%.
myself.
At least
This
the
guy
inner
makes
world
more sense
should
than
happen
what I
the
do
way
at
we
the
want
moment.
it. Isn't it so? Isn't it so?